All right, here we go. Okay, so we are in and we are going to do our variable example today. Sorry, I had to reintroduce because I'm recording this for you guys so that you can rewatch it if you want. Okay, so we are going to come down in here inside of our main, and don't forget to tab over. The first thing we got to do when we're going to use variables is we have to declare our intent to use them. So basically, we're just setting up the ability to use them. So what we got to do is we got to go right here. And in Java, being different than Scratch, as you guys are well aware, we have to say the variable type. So the variable type that we're going to use initially today is int, int. So you have to type that first. And then you have to give it a name. And this name is how we're going to reference it. Generally speaking, I want you guys to use descriptive variable names. So if you are going to write a program that takes in hours, then for crap's sake, call your variable hours. Like, don't call it Charles. It just doesn't make sense. Okay, so make sure your variable names make sense and that they're descriptive. Okay, so for this program, since our variables are actually what the reason that we're writing the program is, I'm just going to simply call our variable, our first one, we're going to call it var1 for variable 1. But that's a descriptive name for in this case, right? Because it's variable 1. Okay. So now what I can do here is we can actually use it, okay? And we can give variable 1 a value. And to do that, we just have to set it equal to something. var1 equals 5. Okay. So if I say var1 equals 5, this value from this point forward is going to be stored in variable 1, in var1. So var1 now as a container holds the value 5. So if I were to do something that you guys are totally familiar with, system.out.print, we're going to go ahead and do line so it doesn't irritate anybody. And then we're not going to use quotes. I'm just going to go var1, like that. So if I were to execute this program, what is it going to do? I'm going to bring an output window over here. We'll put an output window in there. Okay, so it says run. It just prints out the 5 and then build successful. Unlike our previous program, what if I put this in double quotes like you guys did before? What do you predict is going to happen? What? It'll just say var1, right? Okay, because what happens is when I put this in double quotes, it literally treats the content as a string. So it's no longer a variable, it's now a string. Okay, so there's some funky stuff that goes on here. What happens if I say var1 equals Charles? Okay, what's the error? What's the problem with this? It's not an int. Charles is not an int. If I come here, it's going to say incompatible type, string cannot be converted to int. So that's fine. So let's correct that. We'll make this, I don't know, 3 this time. Okay. All right. So we now have an int, a variable that's type integer, and it has a value, and it's going to do this. Okay. So we're good, right? So far? Okay, we can also declare as many variables as we want. We can go int var2. Okay, now, what did we do right here? What's this called? This statement is what? A declaration. We're declaring our intent to use this. Okay? So what happens if I went like this and instead of printing var1, what if I print var2? What's wrong? Yeah, it doesn't hold a value. It's still null, remember? Okay, but I never gave it a value in here, so what's it supposed to do? Okay. Sometimes, actually oftentimes when we're working, when we declare our variable, we're also going to give it an initial value. Okay, so we're going to say int var2 equals 0. So this declares our intent to use it. This part initializes that variable. Okay, so we have our declaration and our initialization. So we initialized the variable. Okay, so this gives it an initial value. So let's say I were to run this now, what happens? It should say 0. Okay, that's awesome. Now, we can do some pretty wonky stuff in here. I could go var1 equals var3, the integer, divided by var2. So what should that do now? Do we like dividing by 0? Ah! Okay. So what you have is there's 3 different kinds of errors. Okay? There's a lot of errors, but there's 3 major that we're going to look at today. Okay? First off is a syntax error. Okay? Actually, I'm going to pause this. Okay, so just really quick. So here's the syntax error. Okay. No semicolon, so the red is underlined. Okay. This dividing by 0 would be a compiler or a runtime error. Okay. Logic error we'll get to in just a minute, and user error we'll do one of those too. So this is not actually super useful. Like, the whole point of computer programming is giving the user the ability to do something more than they can do. Okay? So for this case, we really, really, really need to be able to take data in from the user, because that's where our program becomes really powerful. Okay, to do that, Java does not... When you build a Java program, it doesn't just automatically include everything by default, right? So what it does is it actually just includes the basic packages. So if we want to expand Java's capabilities, we have to import an additional package to give us more capabilities. So what we're going to do is we are going to actually import another package. So I want you to go right here after package but before public class, and we're going to go import here. And then the package, the program that we're going to import is called java.util, stands for utilities, .scanner. Okay, so we're going to import the scanner package. Okay, and we need this. Right now it'll be underlined. So yellow underlines are basically just warnings. Your program will still execute with yellow underlines. Red underlines are errors that will stop your program from executing. Okay, so if you highlight this right here, it says unused import, which means that we did this, but we never used it. Well, of course we haven't used it because we haven't done anything yet. Okay, so we are going to declare our scanner. We have to give, our scanner is what scans the user input for data. So we have to give our scanner a name so that when we use it, we're going to do it. So I'm going to go scanner. And make sure this is capitalized. Scanner is a variable type, right? It's just like an int or whatever. That's how I want you guys to think about it for now. And I name my scanner, I name it reader, because that makes sense to me. But if you really want to name your scanner Yoda, you can. I don't care. Okay. Scanner reader equals new scanner. And then we have to tell our scanner where it's going to get its data from. And in this case, it's going to get it from system.in. Okay. I want you to look at this in comparison. How do we print something to the screen? System.out. We read something in using system.in. That makes sense, right? Because it's just the opposite. Okay, so if I have scanner reader equals new scanner and then system.in, I now have the ability to read something from the user. Okay, so now we're going to go here, and I'm going to go var1 equals reader, because that's the name of my scanner, dot, and now I'm going to tell it what it's going to read. In this case, it's going to read the next integer, like that. So reader, so I want you to look at the command line and read the next integer that the person types in. So now, if we come here, display var1, if I run this, it's going to just prompt me. So what's it doing? It's just waiting for a number right now, right? So if I type 8, maybe. If I type 8 and hit enter, it should print 8 back out. While that actually works, that's kind of stupid, right? So before I read an integer in, I'm going to go like this and go system.out.println, and I'm going to say, please enter an integer. Okay, now, if I run this, it should ask them for an integer, and then I can type in 8, or I guess we'll do something different, 9, and now it prints out 9. Okay, that's not bad. So now I can give data to my program. Okay, now this is where we get into a little funkiness. Okay, if var2, let's set var2 equal to 2. And if I go system.out.println var1 divided by var2, what's going to happen? Yeah, it's going to give me half of whatever I typed in. So let's go here and go system.out.println, and then just say half your number is, and actually, yeah, I'm not going to do println. I'm just going to do print. That way it appears at the end of there. Because then println here will put the other thing at the end, the build successful. Okay, so please enter an integer, and if I say 6, it should say 3. Half your number is 3. Okay, so that works. Yeah. Okay, so this is a big problem. So I'm going to do system.out.print because I want this to be on the same line. So let me show you what he's talking about. Okay. This is kind of an issue. Okay, so if I run this, well, where'd my cursor go? There it is. If I run this, please enter an integer. Let's say I do 13. Okay, what's half of 13? 6.5. Half of your number is 6. Do you see the problem? Okay, when you divide integers and you have a remainder, okay, or a decimal point, that decimal point gets deleted. Even if it would have come out 6.9999999999999, what's it going to display? 6. Okay, integer division always rounds down. The word you're actually looking for is truncate. It truncates it. It means it just cuts it off. It cuts it off at the decimal point. Okay? So, if we were to change this, let's say instead of ints, I were to declare these as doubles. Because a double is what? It's our float, right? And then I have a problem here because this is an int. I need to go double, right? Because we want our thing to read the next double. And now if I run this, please enter integer 13. Half your number is 6.5. Okay, so if my answer is going to be a decimal, I need to use doubles, not integers. Okay, does that make sense? Are you guys okay with this so far? Okay. All right. I don't want to... Oh, we got to do comments. Oh, forgot about that. Okay. Do you remember last time how I told you if your code is easy to read, I'd give you 20%? Okay. There's an additional 20% that's reserved for comments. If you do good comments and your code is easy to read, you get 40% of the assignment. Okay, so comments are stupid. And they're awesome. I know comments seem like a waste of time, and they kind of are right now. But they're important enough that I want you guys to get used to doing them. So here we go. So import javautil.scanner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to comment this with what it is. To make a comment, you do 2 forward slashes. And then I'm just going to say class that handles user input. Okay, so that's descriptive of what that is. That's why that's there. And then I'm going to come here before my variables, and I'm going to do declare variables. And then right here on this one, I'm going to do define scanner like that. And then I'm going to come here and say ask for input. And then here, read input. And then finally, the last one is output value. Whoa, I forgot to put my slashes. Okay. So how this works is a double slash causes that piece to get commented out. Do you see how it turned dark gray? Okay, so because that's dark gray, that means that the compiler is going to completely ignore this. Okay, so when I run this, it's going to do the exact same thing because it's going to just completely ignore the comments because it doesn't matter. Okay, the comments are completely just ignored. Okay, again, I get it. Do I really need to say that this is where I declare my variables? No, I understand that you guys get it. But comments aren't necessarily about understanding right now. It's about getting you in the habit of doing it and showing me that you know what the lines are doing. Do you have to comment every single line for your every single program? No. Just use comments to show what things are doing. The point of comments is that if Rachel is writing a program and gets halfway done with it, Cassie could pick up her program and based on her comments, understand what she was going to do with it. Does that make sense? Okay, comments are 20% of your grade for your program. Good code is 20% of your grade for your program. Before you've even hit run, you have 40%. Okay, I just want to get you guys in the habit. It's that important to me. Okay. All right, any questions on that so far? Do we handle it okay? It's not super hard. And you may kind of find some questions as you start using it. But for right now, I think that's kind of it. Okay? You guys good? Or you guys just totally not want to talk on my video that's going to end up on YouTube? Yes, you are being recorded. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to my channel. hit your boy up for free V-Bucks. All right. So hopefully that helps you guys. And that's it for our video today. You guys are good. All right.